This is NAB Show Live.
This is NAB Show Live, and I'm your host, Ryan Salazar. Today we have a very special guest from a very cool company, Jonathan Morgan, CEO of Object Matrix in the UK. How you doing, sir?
I'm very good, thank you, Ryan.
All right, great. So it's great to have you, and we love talking about what's coming up at the 2018 NAB Show. Real quick for our audience, Jonathan Morgan has a long history in grid and clustered computing technologies. So Jonathan, talk about how you got started in this business.
Yes. So actually, I got started in the business. I went to university in Texas, and I actually did a research project around grid computing, as it was called then. That has now become clustered computing or object storage over the years. After university, after a couple of roles, I actually joined EMC Datacore. And at EMC Datacore, we brought to market the first massive scale object storage solution called Centera.
Great. So Object Matrix turns 15 years old this year. How has the industry changed in 15 years? A lot can happen.
I know, it's amazing how much has changed, and some things that haven't changed quite so much as well. For instance, the price of a disk, I started off $1,680 per terabyte. Now, 15 years later, 28 times cheaper. So to put that another way, if you were to buy a petabyte of data storage in 15 years' time, you'd be buying it for more or less the same price as a high-end PC today, which is $8,000. The price of storage has just come down so far. The whole concept of being able to store data on disk drive really began 15 years ago when we started. A lot of people didn't believe us. They just said, we want to keep data on tape. Well, now it's really economic to store the same data onto a disk as you would have done 15 years ago onto tape. So the whole industry has changed in those ways. A few things haven't changed so much. For instance, the industry still evolves around keeping the data safely and being able to access that data as quickly as possible.
So you just gave me a flashback. A long time ago when I was a CTO, we were trying to get solid state disks. This is probably about 15 years ago. And at the time, they only really sold military grade SSDs. I remember maybe it was 250 gigs or 400 gigs, something like that. It was about $4,000, I think, for one drive. It was just insane because I thought it would be great to put that storage on a server as an SSD and not have a failed hard drive, if you will, a spinning disk. So real quick, so what is the most significant challenge being faced by your customers right now?
Well, the challenges that people face today really they're the same challenges as we had 15 years ago, and probably going to be the same challenges in 15 years' time. The amount of data we're storing is just more and more and more. It's not so much a challenge of how do I store the data, but how do I manage the data, how do I find the data, and how do I reuse it in a way that I maximize the money intrinsic that has been built into the intellectual property within that data. It's the same challenges. So when we started off, it was, okay, how do we manage lots of disks? That's slightly going away because with cloud, with private cloud, with hybrid cloud, and all of these different types of solutions, they solve some of those challenges that are out there. But actually, how do I organize my data? How do I find my data? Just as big as it ever was, if not bigger.
All right, so what trends, this is the last question, do you expect to be particularly prominent at this year's NAB show?
So if I was playing buzzword bingo at NAB show and I was going to go around all the different stands, I think you're going to see the same phrases coming up again and again and again. So cloud is going to come up everywhere for another year. Artificial intelligence is going to be the new kind of buzz phrase that will be on all of the stands, although arguably that's an old phrase that's reinvented itself again recently. And for the storage industry, for companies like ourselves, hybrid cloud. How do you bridge on-premises through to cloud in a seamless way, take advantage of the network bandwidth on-premises, and be able to take advantage of some of the scalability and distribution of cloud?
All right, well, thank you so much. Again, Jonathan Morgan in the UK, CEO of Object Matrix. We're going to see you in South Lower Hall, SL 5005. Again, South Lower Hall, that's SL 5005 at the 2018 NAB show. I can't wait to meet you in person. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. I look forward to meeting you.